Good morning. It is Thursday, October 27th. I'm Shane Seeley, and this is the CBC Morning Report. Well, this morning we are getting an update on what is a multi-million-dollar investment to enhance pediatric care here in Barbados. And for the first time under the program, the healthcare system will benefit from the development and the deployment of just over a dozen qualified pediatric nurses. Leading pediatrician Dr. Clyde Cave broke the news as he gave an update on the Shaw Center for Pediatric Excellence, a close to $15 million program, now 3 years in the making. The project, funded by the Shaw family out of Canada, which has close connections here, focuses on developing healthcare facilities and medical professionals to meet the growing demand for pediatric care here in Barbados.
We were able to develop with the University of the West Indies, one of our partners, a pediatric diploma in pediatric nursing, which is offered through Cave Hill. And 13 of nurses from Barbados just completed this diploma and graduated last weekend. So for the first time, we have a number of nurses with pediatric specialty training who are going to be deployed across our healthcare system. The target is 40 over the remainder of the program, so roughly 12 to 13 per year. And we're hoping that this will make a big difference because nurses are the ones who spend the most contact time with children and patients at their bedside or in the baby clinics, at the polyclinics, wherever.
Now, Dr. Cave is the Barbados Program Director of the Shaw Center for Pediatric Excellence. According to him, the center will also invest in sub-training specialists in pediatric care.
The University of the West Indies has a long history of training pediatricians here in Barbados, but we haven't been able to offer the subspecialty training because we're just too small. That would require a much bigger hospital. So we have the funding for 4 fellowships through the Hospital for Sick Children in Toronto, which is a world leader in pediatric care. And so far, we've identified 2 individuals, a Barbadian psychiatrist who's going to do further studies in child and adolescent psychiatry, which is much needed in our population, and a second pediatrician who is going to do neonatology, the subspecialty looking after newborn babies, which is a subspecialty that I held at the hospital, and there's a little bit of a deficit since I have retired. And there are 2 other opportunities, and we really look forward to these being the leaders in the future of pediatric healthcare.
Now, as he gave details on training those subspecialists in pediatric care, Dr. Cave described this level of investment in Barbados's human resources in healthcare as invaluable.
10 million Canadian dollars is a big budget, and it would not have been easy to come by. The work is essential and crucial to future development. For example, pediatric specialty nurses, we had to depend on somebody returning or somebody using their own initiative and resources to go away. And when you make that kind of investment, it's hard to come back and work under the conditions and remuneration that we're able to offer in Barbados compared to the larger countries where nurses and subspecialists are in such big demand. We really cannot move forward without upgrading the level of care of our personnel. We can't keep doing the same things that we've been doing for the last 20 years, even if we refine it and expect to move to a higher level. This is what enables us to do that.
Now, those Barbadians, 13 nurses who received their specialty qualifications under the program, must return to work at the QEH, the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, or polyclinics across the island. That's because they were co-sponsored by the hospital and the Ministry of Health and Wellness, with the Shaw Center funding their tuition. Well, coming up on the CBC Morning Report, news from the Central Bank's third quarter economic review and updates on the war in Ukraine.
Barbados, get up!
Morning Barbados will be coming to your parish live every Friday until November. Stay tuned from 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. to see which parish we're in. Join us for it all.
Good morning, morning Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Come on, Q family, make some noise. Are you ready?
Q in the Community is on every Thursday in a community near you.
Q in the Community is well and alive.
Come on down and, have a line with all of me. The more mature folk come to dance, to sing.
Keep the bones smooth.
Q in the Community is your place to meet friends, to socialize, and just to be you.
Yes, come on down and take in the karaoke.
Whether you're coming from north, south, east, or west, we have a bus for you.
Q in the Community.
Stay tuned to Q100.7 FM to find out where we will be next, and follow us on Facebook. Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more.
The Barbados economy has registered a double-digit growth for the first 9 months of this year. Central Bank Governor Cleviston Haynes made the revelation while delivering the bank's third quarter economic review. The governor says the resurgent tourism sector has been largely responsible for the growth of 10.1%. However, he also says the economy is not yet producing at pre-pandemic levels, but tourism is expected to sustain its rebound for the remainder of this year. The bank also recorded double-digit growth in its half-year review, and he says that trend is expected to continue until year-end.
Barbados economy is on a path to recovery, and economic growth of approximately 10% is expected for 2022. However, the forecast is for slower global economic activity amid the tightening of financial conditions in advanced economies, the slowdown in production in China, and the potential return of COVID-19 cases during the winter period. The IMF's global growth forecast is now 3.2% for 2022 and 2.7% for 2023, the weakest growth profile since the global financial crisis. This outlook poses a significant downside risk that has been accentuated by the uncertainty in the United Kingdom market. However, the recovery is expected to continue into 2023.
The central bank governor says continued recovery will be based on a further upturn in the global tourism sector, coupled with the implementation of large public and private construction projects. He also says Barbadians could start to see reduced prices for some goods going into the new year, based on global trends.
Based on scenarios encompassing a weaker performance of the UK tourism market, growth is forecast to reach between 3.5% and 5% for 2023. Future prices for energy and food have started to fall as global economic activity slows and global supply chains begin to normalize. These global declines will feature domestically with a lag. The local initiatives to reduce price pressures have started to bear fruit and will provide some ease until the price declines are realized.
Meanwhile, there has been a slow uptake of the Boss Plus bonds so far. Governor Haynes says different factors have impacted the pace of the initiative.
I would say somewhere around $9–10 million so far. I think, to be quite honest, some of the nervousness that persons have post debt restructuring has probably been amplified by some of the public debate that has taken place about the government's ability to repay debt over time, and I think that has probably impacted persons who may have been considering buying these bonds.
Governor Haynes went on to say under the circumstances, the bank will need to get across the message that the borrowing the government is trying to achieve is consistent with a sustainable macroeconomic program.
We've said we want to bring the debt to GDP ratio down. That implies a certain level of borrowing that we We have, analyzed and Sarah can build out how much borrowing you need on the assumptions of these are the primary balances, this is the growth that will be necessary to achieve that 60% target by 2035-36. And we believe that that is a sustainable level of indebtedness. It's not based on the stock, as I said earlier, but it is based on achieving the 60% ratio by 35-36.
Now on the war in Ukraine. Ukraine's counteroffensive against Russian forces in the southern Kherson region is proving more difficult than it was in the northeast, and that's because of wet weather and the terrain. Kyiv's forces are piling pressure on Russian troops in the strategically important Kherson region, which has been partially occupied by Moscow since the start of its invasion, threatening Russian President Vladimir Putin with another big battlefield setback. However, elsewhere, a Russian bomb has struck a college in Ukraine.
Ukrainians say that this college building was hit in the early hours of this morning by a S-300 rocket. Now, they say it's a college building. We've seen the rubble, we've seen pages from textbooks, and the smell of the burning and the dust is still very potent in the air. Now, this college building is surrounded by residential flats here. All the windows have been blown out, and the cleanup operation has been taking place all morning. And you can see the results of this blast. It knocked out windows, it's knocked out power. They've been working all morning to try to restore power to some of these apartments, and some of these people will just have to move out because they can't stay. Now, the Ukrainian military are saying that the Russians continue to mount offensives in the east and in the south. In Bakhmut, the Ukrainians say that they've managed to repel Russian attacks, but they said in the last 24 hours there's been 30 airstrikes, over 100 rocket strikes. One person was killed, one pregnant woman was killed in Dnipro when a petrol station was hit. And in the south, they say because of the weather, because of the rain, the Ukrainian offensive has been slowed down because it's difficult to move military personnel as well as military equipment. But it's difficult to know exactly what's taking place in Kherson because the Ukrainians do have a media blackout, and it's impossible to get access to that area. But here in the east, the battle continues in Bakhmut to the south
of Barbados, and we're going to be talking what you need to do to make sure that you are healthy as we move forward. Also, district emergency organizations, we're getting you ready for all that's set to come. We have an active season, and we want to make sure that you know everything you need to know about district emergency organizations. We're reaching out to Latin America as we shout out our exceptional youth today. It's a 17-year-old from Brazil, so you definitely want to stay around for that. And we will tell you about the Rural Community Football Tournament that's coming up shortly. Also, a little bit of music. Peter Cox with 2 X's is in the house. That's all on today's edition of Morning Barbados.
Thank you so much, Tisha. See you in a few minutes' time. Well, the Attorney General is having his say on what is a leaked report, a leaked victims report. You'll get the details to that and other stories coming up right here on the Morning Report, as well as an update on what is happening in the T20 World Cup.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Max Pack Extra.
Attorney General Dale Marshall says the leaking of victims' reports is no blunder. He believes those responsible should face the harshest possible measures available under the circumstances. Crystal Hoyt has more.
The Attorney General of Barbados, Dale Marshall, says the recent leaking of sensitive information by the Barbados Police Service simply could not be a mistake.
They had to have been done intentionally, and it is really the gravest of breaches of public confidence. In any situation where a member of the public goes to the police service to make a complaint, if that information is not kept confidential, then it will almost certainly erode the public confidence.
The AG revealed that there will be consequences.
I've asked that the harshest possible measures available in the circumstances should be visited upon the officer. This calls into question not just the manner in which the police work, but also calls into question the ability of the public to trust the police service.
Investigations are ongoing. Crystal Hoyt, CBC News.
Barbados is one of 7 countries in the region committed to protecting its soil. With that commitment, Phase 1 of the CSIDS, that's the CSIDS Soil Care Initiative, was launched yesterday at the Soil Conservation Unit in St. Andrew. Shane Jones reports.
Students and teachers from several schools across the island were on hand for the launch of Phase 1 of the Caribbean Small Island Developing States Multi-Country Soil Management Initiative for integrated landscape restoration and sustainable food systems. The participating countries are Barbados, Antigua and Barbuda, Belize, Grenada, Haiti, Jamaica and St. Lucia. The project is a partnership between the Global Environment Facility, the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, the Natural Heritage Department, and the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Nutritional Security. Permanent Secretary in that ministry, Terry Bascom, said several of the ministry's agencies are in the process of undertaking activities that will be reinforced by the implementation of the new project. He highlighted the planting of cuscus grass.
The AMC has planted, as I say, 10 miles of that grass to reduce soil loss and erosion at about 8 plantations managed by government. A 2-acre cuscus grass nursery has also been established, and another 3 acres in size is being built out in the north of the island. The grass is also available to small farmers, so you can come and get your cuscus grass from the nursery and you can plant it at your own private properties. In terms of aquifer recharging, BAMC has completed 50 wells since the start of the program and have channeled previously wasted water from roads towards these wells.
Minister of the Environment and National Beautification, Adrian Ford, hailed the soil care project as one that will save the next generation.
Unless you have fertile soil, unless the soil is able to do what it intends to in terms of rehabilitating our ecosystem and allowing that diversity, then we will not be able not only to achieve the Sustainable Development Goal 15.3, but the Sustainable Development Goal 14 and 15. Land, both under in water, under the bottom of the ocean, and land, and life, on land. I think that is very important.
The Regional Executing Agency for CSID Soil Care is a partnership initiative for sustainable land management. Representative Kiefer Jackson shared some of the aims.
Out of this project, we will be developing tools, policies, and best practices for the participating countries to achieve land irrigation neutrality, as well as was mentioned before, the Sustainable Development Goal, specifically 15.3. PSLM, as a homegrown regional organization, is pleased to be working with governments on this project, and specifically the government of Barbados, and we look forward to working with you for Phase 1 and beyond in the achievement of the 25 by 25 vision.
The launch ended with a tour of the Soil Conservation Unit.
That's Shane Jones reporting there. The Immigration Department has rolled out its new training course called an Institutional Strengthening Clinic. It's an initiative aimed at reshaping, retooling and rebuilding the department to prepare for the future. The Minister of Home Affairs and Information, Wilfred Abrams, told participants it's an exercise that will touch everyone. Trevor Thorpe has more.
The Institutional Clinic training course is the first of its kind to be undertaken by the 43-year-old Immigration Department, and the Minister of Home Affairs and Information, Wilfred Abrams, told participants it comes ahead of the development of a new immigration policy. He said the origins of the clinic came from within the department, and kudos are in order for those behind it.
This department is a business which is in the business of providing immigration-related services to Barbados, Barbadians, and whoever needs to use it. We are a business.
The minister said
the UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak faced his first session of Prime Minister's questions yesterday in Parliament, where the opposition met him with renewed calls for fresh general elections.
Prime Minister,
A little more than 24 hours since taking the top job, Rishi Sunak stood in the House of Commons for the first time as Prime Minister. From the opposition Labour Party, an acknowledgement of the historic moment.
May I welcome the Prime Minister. The first British Asian Prime Minister is a significant moment in our national story.
But there was a quick return to rowdy partisan politics and a call for an early general election.
Let working people have their say and call a general election.
From Rishi Sunak, an echo from his words on Tuesday, insisting his mandate was clear.
Our mandate is based on a manifesto that we were elected on, to remind him an election that we won and they lost.
Earlier, the new Prime Minister met his leadership team for the first time, but he's already facing criticism for his appointment of Suella Braverman as Home Secretary, the UK's Interior Minister. She was sacked just a week ago by Liz Truss for a classified data breach, an appointment Sunak was forced to defend.
The Home Secretary made an error of judgment, but she recognised that, she raised the matter and she accepted her mistake. And that's why I was delighted to welcome back into a united cabinet that brings experience and stability to the heart of government.
Rishi Sunak was propelled into the job after Liz Truss presided over an economic meltdown in her first few weeks in charge.
Let's look at some sporting news now. And India and South Africa were both in winners' row this morning at the ICC T20 World Cup in Australia to hold the top positions in Group 2 of the Super 12 stage. India are first in the standings on 4 points after they defeated the Netherlands by a huge margin, some 56 runs. India scoring 179 for 2, while the Netherlands in response would have scored 123 for 9. Virat Kohli top scored with an unbeaten 62. That included 3 fours and 2 sixes, while skipper Rohit Sharma added 53 and Surya Kumar Yadav 51 not out. Kohli and Yadav had an unbroken third wicket partnership of 95. The Netherlands in reply ended on 123 for 9, as I mentioned, of their 20 overs, allowing India to win by 56 runs. The result puts the undefeated India on 4 points, while the Netherlands are six and yet to win a match. Meanwhile, the opening match, South Africa had victory over Bangladesh, also playing at the SCG. South Africa batted first and posted a mammoth 205 for 5, led by player of the match Riley Russo's 109 off 56 balls. That included 7 fours and 8 sixes. He and Quinton de Kock, who made 63, put on 168 for the second wicket. Shakib Al Hassan, he took 2 for 33. Bangladesh in reply were shot out for 101 in 16.3 overs. Liton Das, he scored with 34, while Anik Norkia took 4 for 10, as Tariq Shamsi's 3 for 20 led South Africa to the victory by 101 runs. The result moves the Proteas to 3 points from 2 matches after their opening fixture against Zimbabwe was abandoned due to rain. Bangladesh are third on 2 points. And that's where we wrap up this edition. Well, before we get to that, let me not rush it. Let's take a quick look at the weather. Temperature is 29 degrees Celsius on the outside. It's mostly cloudy and windy. It's feeling a little warmer still at 33 degrees Celsius, the apparent temperature. The relative humidity is 72%. The barometric pressure is 1010 millibars, and the winds are coming from the east at 34 kilometers per hour. We'll see a low tide this morning at 20 minutes after 10. The high tide will be in the afternoon at 20 minutes to 5. The seas are moderate in open water. Swells are peaking at 2 meters. Today in Barbados, we will have a mix of sunshine and clouds with a few brief isolated light showers, and tonight a mix of clear skies and clouds with a few brief isolated light to moderate showers. And here's a quick look at the forecast in some of our selected international cities. And that's where we wrap up things for this morning's edition of the CBC Morning Report. I'm Shane Seeley. I'll see you at 7 with headline news. Up next is Tisha with Morning Barbados.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
It's Thursday, October 27th. So good to have you with us this beautiful morning. Can you believe we're already at the end of October, starting a new month in just a matter of days? We have a good show planned for you today, lots for you to listen into and weigh in on. Of course, we want you to join us online as well. So if you're watching on YouTube, a special good morning to you. Thanks for tuning in this early morning, especially those of you who are across the diaspora or are watching online. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram. You can send your emails to morningbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G, of course. So today was a crazy day for me, and I guess people in my general area in St. Philip, the region of Halton. No electricity through the night and into the morning. So I hope you're not struggling with that this morning, because I know it can really set back what you usually do with your usual routine when you wake up and there's suddenly no electricity, particularly if you didn't prepare the night before, do your ironing or whatever you had to do. I certainly hope you're not struggling this morning. So call us up and let us know what's happening in your neck of the woods, or you can indeed share it via email. We welcome all of your feedback. We are looking at the Heart and Stroke Foundation today. They're sharing with us as we look to Saturday's celebration or observance of World Stroke Day. And you know, we have a real issue with non-communicable diseases across the region, but specifically here in Barbados, we really need to take charge of what we eat and how we're taking care of ourselves, because the numbers as relates to non-communicable diseases are certainly going up. Or so it seems. We're going to get some confirmation on what we need to do, who are the main people who are impacted, and how we can turn all of this around. And that's all happening this morning as we speak with Dr. Ariane Harvey and Dr. Dawn Scantlebury. They will be in to tell us all about what's happening with the Heart and Stroke Foundation as they look to World Stroke Day on Saturday. But before we get to them, we are going to be I'm going to tell you who else will be on the show. So Selwyn Brooks, consultant with responsibility for the district emergency organizations, will be on, and we are aiming to bring some awareness to the respective communities across Barbados, St. Andrew and City of Bridgetown. We're going to be talking to them about what's happening in those areas, plus a rural community football tournament that's coming up. We want you to know how you can be a part of it, involve your young people, go out and support them and things of the like. It's starting on Sunday at Hilda Skeen School, so we have to tell you more about that. Plus, we salute a little bit of music. We're going to have Peter Cox with 2 X's. You might recognize him from Beach to the World most recently, but he has a long list of accolades behind his name, and he has some new music, so he will be here to share with us this morning on Morning Barbados. Plus, we are going to be saluting another exceptional youth, this time reaching over to Latin America and saluting a young 17-year-old Brazilian leader. We're going to tell you all about that. So where do we start? We're starting with the interview with the Heart and Stroke Foundation of Barbados, and we're going to welcome Dr. Ariane Harvey and Dr. Dawn Scanterbury to Morning Barbados. Good morning.
Morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
It's good to have both of you with us. And of course, good morning, top down, bottom up, left to right. Very, very important. So we have a major day coming up on Saturday, World Stroke Day. A lot of the times, many of these observances kind of come and go with just a mention, and I'm not sure people pay as much attention as they need to figure out what is happening and really hone in on what we need to do to try to turn figures around where it comes to how NCDs, chronic NCDs, are affecting Barbados. So let me start with you, Dr. Harvey. Talk to us a little bit about what really is happening. In real terms, let's talk about global stats as compared to local stats. How do we measure up?
So morning again, and morning to the listening public. Just before we go into stats a bit, I just think it's important to overview what a stroke actually is for the listening public, just to underscore how serious a problem it is. And we have issues with people recognizing that, and that impacts access to care. So a stroke happens when blood cannot get to a certain part of your brain, and that results in that part of your brain dying. So strokes are serious. Sometimes the symptoms of strokes are subtle, and patients or their family members don't recognize that, and therefore don't come in early enough to get adequate management. If the blood supply is blocked in the vessel, that's called an ischemic stroke, and that's the most common stroke we have. If the vessel bursts, that's called a hemorrhagic stroke. Death to that brain tissue can result in weakness in the face, arms, or legs on one side. Sometimes patients can have slurring of speech or be unable to understand spoken word, or may not recognize things that they are used to recognizing, or be able to perform activities that they should be able to do, or even recognize people that should be familiar to them. So when a stroke is happening, that's a serious event. And this serious event happens every year internationally 12 million times. So 12 million strokes happen every year internationally. And Barbados, unfortunately, is included in that number. That's basically a stroke every 3 seconds somewhere happening in the world. And the number of people living who have had a stroke event has actually doubled over the last 3 decades. So that's concerning, and that matches the increase that we're seeing in non-communicable diseases, because those are the risk factors for stroke. In 2019, 2/3 of stroke worldwide actually were happening in people under age 70, and that's a change. Stroke used to be a disease of elderly people, but now we're seeing stroke happening in younger patients. And that's particularly concerning because it's the 3rd most common cause of disability worldwide. 90% or almost 90% of patients who have severe disability and death from strokes happen in our diaspora in low to middle income countries, and that includes the Caribbean and Barbados. So strokes are an important and significant healthcare burden both internationally and locally. We have the benefit here of having the Barbados National Registry, which is an internationally recognized database that actually collects and analyzes diseases and information about diseases that impact and burden our healthcare system, particularly non-communicable diseases such as cancer, as well as heart disease and cardiovascular disease, and including stroke. So we are unique and benefited in the fact that we actually collect our own data and analyze it. And so we know what's happening on the ground here, thanks to the work that's being done in the BNR. We know that in 2019 and also in 2020, we had about 800 strokes happen in each of those years, and that number is increasing. Much like the international data, we are seeing strokes more commonly. Strokes are happening in younger people, and patients who have strokes are sicker, which means that they are ones who are coming in with multiple non-communicable diseases, coming in with high blood pressure, the diabetes. And we know that the risk factors for non-communicable disease, as they increase, stroke matches that increase. And that impacts our population significantly, because strokes are impacting the people who are rearing our children and taking care of our elderly, with significant disability and death locally, which matches international stats. So that's what's going on the ground from a data standpoint.
That certainly is a lot. So let's head over to see what the Heart and Stroke Foundation of Barbados is doing. What are you seeing on a daily basis in terms of people coming in? I know you have a few clinics, so to speak, so people can come in. You offer exercise facility, rehab facilities as well. So talk to us about what you're seeing in terms of those people who are coming in to be treated or to get help to do with strokes.
So at the Heart and Stroke Foundation, we have a rehab program. So patients are not coming to us with their acute stroke. They go to the hospital. You want to go to the hospital within, as soon as the stroke is diagnosed, so that the potential for neurologic recovery is highest. So I just wanted to get at Heart and Stroke, we are seeing patients after they've been managed, after they've had their acute care, and then rehabilitation. So what typically will happen is that someone will come to the emergency room or go to their primary care doctor or whatever for symptoms of a stroke. If you end up in the emergency room and your symptoms are significant enough and you've turned up early enough to have thrombolytic therapy, that's one drug, which is a clot dissolving agent, you get that. You're admitted to the stroke unit, where there's a multidisciplinary approach to the management of stroke. And you start your rehab. Sometimes you go through the rehab department at the hospital. And once that initial set of rehab is undertaken and complete, then patients are referred over to the Heart and Stroke Foundation, where we do a kind of lower level rehab, lower level in the sense that it's not as intensive as you'll get at the hospital, but also it's kind of maintenance. So our role at Heart and Stroke is secondary prevention. So we manage patients post cardiac event as well as post neurologic event or stroke, to prevent things from happening again. So patients, on average, we'll see about 25 to 30 strokes a month, and they come in, they do classes twice a week. They meet with a rehab therapist or a fitness trainer. There's a speech therapist, there's an occupational therapist. They're group classes, so there's a lot of social interaction. They get into the habit of interacting with each other, of exercising. If they can walk on a treadmill, they walk on a treadmill. If they can do weights, they do weights. Sometimes there are seated exercises that they do. But the whole purpose is to get active, in get that limb that was affected more mobile. Work on their speech, work on their ability to do day-to-day tasks. That's what occupational therapy is all about. And then, can't forget, they meet with a nutritionist as well to look at their diet and how things can be improved and what needs to be taken out and what needs to be put back in. So it's again, a multidisciplinary approach to secondary cardiovascular disease prevention at the Heart and Stroke Foundation for stroke patients.
The uptick in numbers, based on what we would have heard, how are you kind of managing with the increased number of people who might be reaching out for this assistance post having a stroke and obviously getting the care they need at the hospitals and what have you? How are you managing? How many people are you seeing coming into the Heart and Stroke Foundation? And what's the turnaround time for people to be able to get into these programs, to be able to work toward rehabbing their bodies and trying to get back to some state of normalcy?
The word gets out there that we have a stroke program. The numbers are increasing. As I said, we we have about 25 to 30 patients a month. So what we do, depending on the month, of course, sometimes there are more, sometimes there are less, and we just do longer sessions. So say Tuesday and Thursdays are the days for stroke clients. If we would start at 10 o'clock and go to 2 for the stroke patients, that time period will be extended. So sometimes it expands, sometimes it contracts. But that's how we have been trying to handle the increasing numbers. So the other thing, of course, is that we rely very, very heavily on donations. Some of the services that we offer are actually quite expensive, and the Ministry of Health does cover a little bit for patients who come from the hospital. If you come privately, there is a nominal fee associated with the stroke program as well. But the vast majority of the stroke program is paid for by the donations and the income that comes in to the foundation from donors, etc. So I'm just jumping in there with a plug for those who are listening who may be interested in helping us support these programs. We are trying to do quite a lot with these clients without having to expense them a lot, because these are patients who really and truly cannot afford comprehensive rehab care for after a stroke. They're not, some of them are not back into the workplace. They're older, they're retired or unemployed because a lot of the time because of their stroke, and they still require that rehab care to get them back on their feet, as it were.
All right, so tell us what's happening on World Stroke Day. I understand that you have some details to share with us of a showcase that's coming up.
So we have a showcase at the Ann Gill Memorial Church, Methodist Church, on Saturdays. World Stroke Day is October 29th. That's Saturday, October 29th. So we are having a showcase between around 11 o'clock, so 10:45 and 1:30. So it's a pop-up showcase where there are talks throughout that period of time. So we start with a welcome at 10:45. At 11, I'll be giving a talk on risk factors for stroke, the role of the physiotherapist, financial planning practices, stroke. There will be someone speaking on stroke and rehab. Stroke rehab at the Heart and Stroke. Someone will talk about what is a rehab therapy technician. So different talks. We are going to have kind of little booths. You can come and get blood pressure checks, blood sugar checks. So, you know, personnel from the Heart and Stroke will be there. You can talk a little bit more about what is offered, but also how you can be a little bit healthier as well. So discussions on diet and exercise.
Words from you, Dr. Harvey.
Audio.
Parting words from you, Dr. Harvey. You know, what advice would you like to give as we leave the interview to Barbadians looking on? You noted that younger Barbadians are now experiencing it. Used to be, you know, a disease of the elderly. You know, what advice would you like to share as we leave?
So 2 things. One, certainly we should all try to be healthier. We should all try to limit our risk factors or lower our risk factors for stroke. Moving around, eating better. If you do have high blood pressure, diabetes already, try to keep that under excellent control, because that will decrease your risk. As well as if you smoke, stop smoking. The patients who we see coming in younger to the hospital are those patients who have that heavy NCD burden. And those are the modifiable risk factors, which means we can change that. And then the second thing is to just be able to recognize when you think somebody is having a stroke. If you think somebody is having a stroke, come to the QEH. It's the only and best place to manage acute stroke. You will not have the advantage of getting to the heart and stroke for rehab if you don't get your initial acute care. If you think somebody is having a stroke, come to QEH, because that is where we can manage your acute stroke effectively. So lower your risk factors, and if you have the unfortunate incidents of thinking you have a stroke, come to the QEH where we can get you assessed, get you treated acutely, and then get you moved on to the rehab at the Heart and Stroke Center.
Thank you, Dr. Harvey. Thank you so much, Dr. Scantlebury. We will continue to share. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
We're going to take another break and come back on Morning Barbados as we get you ready to talk about the District Emergency Organization. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Join us this Friday as Morning Barbados will be broadcasting live from Sandoon's Barn Restaurant, Belle Plaine, St. Andrew. Tune in to CBC TV 8 from 6:30 to 8 a.m. to be a part of the fun as we continue to take Morning Barbados on the road, coming to a parish near you. Brought to you with the compliments of Great Health Works, agents for Omega XL and probiotics.
Morning to you.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affair segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb. And together we will travel the world.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
7 minutes to go before 7 o'clock. Very, very important organizations we need to check in with. District Emergency Organization. So my question is, how much do you know about your DEO office, and how much do you know about what's happening? If there's a disaster, if there's something happening, who are you going to call? Do you know the numbers? We want to make sure we check in and share and bring you up to speed on exactly what you need to know. For that, we are going to welcome Selwyn Brooks, consultant with responsibility for the District Emergency Organizations. Good morning.
Good morning.
Always great to have you with us. All right, so we want to talk about bringing awareness to the respective communities. And of course, there's an upcoming meeting with regard to St. Andrew and the City of Bridgetown DEOs. So first of all, let's kind of lay out, especially in the face of all that's happening in Barbados and with the weather patterns being the way they are and hearing so much about natural disasters, how are you at the District Emergency Organizations gearing up or preparing for all that might be coming our way?
Well, over the last 2 years, we have been able to sustain increased membership as a result of an extensive training program that we have offered the members of the District Emergency Organization across the country. It is commonly accepted that once a person is adequately trained, they will be in a better position to respond to the likelihood of whatever hazard might come their way. So as the District Mercy Organization form part of the Department of the Emergency Management Community Resilience Program, it is very critical and going forward based on climate change and other weather phenomena that members of diverse communities equip themselves with the knowledge so that in the event that their area is impacted, they can offer a better response. So basically the district mercy organizations have seen significant growth over the last 2 years, and increased numbers, increased training, increased sensitization, and also increased community engagement so that we can educate, inform, and enlighten our residents throughout the country what they need to know and what they can do to help them respond should something happens in their area.
Even though you're seeing, an uptick in response and you're doing more training, more people are coming out, is that translating to people being more prepared? Where we see that there might be an event or a natural disaster, are people preparing more?
I would say at least 50% better than before, because with the notices that we do get from the social media and also the enhanced forecasting from the Met Office provides that potential for the information to be shared more readily and in a timely manner. But I will say that there is still some room, because I think there is still too much higher level of complacency. We have been able to reduce it, but we still have some way to go.
All right, let's talk about these meetings that are coming up. When we think about St. Andrew, there are some very unique things about that particular part of the island that I would imagine you would like to address in any meeting you have. So let's talk about the upcoming meetings and how people can get involved.
This weekend we will be staging 2 meetings for 2 of the district mercy organizations, which we think can benefit from an increased numbers from persons who reside in their respective areas. The city of Bridgetown, they will be first on Saturday at the St. Michael's School, and then on Sunday we will be going to St. Andrew at the A. DeCosta Primary School, DeCosta Edwards Primary School. These meetings is a rallying call for residents to come and hear a number of things. One, how they can benefit from being a member of the district emergency organization. What are some of the areas that they are likely to be exposed to, having done the required hazard assessment in these communities? How can they get involved? And the benefits, they will be informed of the level of training and exposure that persons are exposed to, and with the hope that they will see the need to join forces with the district emergency organization and the Department of Emergency Management as we seek to enhance our community resilience. Now let's look at annual family until the national response mechanism sticks in. In the city of Bridgetown has similar consequences in terms of it is a very extensive and highly populated communities. We have seen the devastation caused by fire recently. We have also seen flooding that happens in certain parts of that constituency. And therefore, the rallying call is for residents to come out and hear. Come out and hear what can happen to your area. Ask questions, and we would endeavor to seek to answer those questions, all in an effort to sensitize residents what they need to know and what they need to do. We cannot stop the hazards or we cannot stop the impacts, but we can certainly prepare for them so that our response can be far better and the recovery process will be relatively shorter. So the district emergency organization is a cadre of trained persons who will offer their respective communities that level of sensitization to what can happen, with the hope that we can mobilize members in the community to come on board and therefore help reduce the level of response that will be needed to any impact that happens in these 2 communities.
Well, I saw
these 2 meetings.
Sorry, go ahead.
These two meetings are the first in the series because as you will know, as a voluntary organization, some organizations will function at varying levels. What we need to do is to have all of the district emergency organizations operating at least at a certain level with the required number of trained persons so that they can offer that level of response should the need arise. So following these two meetings, we will be going to two other districts within the next 2 weeks, and we will share that information as those meetings are finalized.
All right, well, I certainly hope, is what I was saying, I certainly hope that you get the numbers coming out in both of those communities to really reinvigorate the DEOs in those areas. And the information you're sharing is information that can indeed save lives. And I know often we don't think of it in that way. So I want to thank you for coming through and sharing. And indeed, we look forward to you coming back and letting us know where the other meetings will be and how things turn out. Thank you, Mr. Brooks.
Thank you very much. Pleasant day tomorrow.
Thank you so much. The Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation is advising our clients and customers that our accounts department, including our cashiers, will be closing at 12 noon today, Thursday, October 27th, to allow staff to attend the funeral of our late colleague. We also wish to advise our advertisers that booking should be made no later than 10:30 this morning. Should you have any queries, please contact our sales department at sales@cbc.bb or contact your sales rep. We recognize that this could be an inconvenience to you, and we apologize for that, but thank you for your understanding. Coming up, we're going to tell you where you can find us today for Q in the Community, and we are also highlighting positive youth from across the globe. But right now, it's time for Headline News with Shane Seeley.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up.
Morning Barbados will be coming to your parish live every Friday until November. Stay tuned from 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. to see which parish we're in. Join us for it all.
Good morning. Morning Barbados, good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Come on, you family, make some noise. Are you ready?
Q in the Community is on every Thursday in a community near you.
Q in the Community is well and alive.
Come on down and, have a line with all of me. The more mature folk come to dance, to sing.
Scrape the bones smooth.
Q in the Community is your place to meet friends, to socialize, and just to be you.
Yes, come on down and take in the karaoke.
Whether you're coming from north, south, east, or west, we have a bus for you.
Q in the Community.
Stay tuned to Q100.7 FM to find out where we will be next, and follow us on Facebook.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, I'm Shane Seeley with your headline news for this Thursday, October the 27th. The local healthcare system will soon see the deployment of over a dozen qualified pediatric nurses as efforts continue to enhance the level of pediatric care here on the island. It's the first for the Shaw Centre for Pediatric Excellence, a close to $15 million program now 3 years in the making. The project, funded by the Shaw family out of Canada, which has close connections here, focuses on developing healthcare facilities and medical professionals to meet the growing demand for pediatric care here in Barbados. Barbados Program Director Dr. Clyde Cave gave an update to the Morning Report.
We were able to develop with the University of the West Indies, one of our partners, a pediatric diploma in pediatric nursing, which is offered through Cave Hill. And 13 of nurses from Barbados just completed this diploma and graduated last weekend. So for the first time, we have a number of nurses with pediatric specialty training who are going to be deployed across our healthcare system. The target is 40 over the remainder of the program, so roughly 12 to 13 per year. And we're hoping that this will make a big difference because nurses are the ones who spend the most contact time with children and patients at their bedside or in the well baby clinics, at the polyclinics, wherever.
The Barbados economy has registered double-digit growth for the first 9 months of this year. The central bank governor, Cleviston Haynes, made the revelation while delivering the bank's third quarter economic review. The governor says the resurgent tourism sector has been largely responsible for the growth of 10.1%. However, he also says the economy is not yet producing at pre-pandemic levels, but tourism is expected to sustain its rebound for the remainder of this year. The bank also recorded double-digit growth in its half-year review, and he says that trend is expected to continue until year-end.
The Barbados economy is on a path to recovery, and economic growth of approximately 10% is expected for 2022. However, the forecast is for slower global economic activity amid the tightening of financial conditions in advanced economies, the slowdown in production in China, and the potential return of COVID-19 cases during the winter period. The IMF's global growth forecast is now 3.2% for 2022 and 2.7% for 2023, the weakest growth profile since the global financial crisis. This outlook poses a significant downside risk that has been accentuated by the uncertainty in the United Kingdom market. However, the recovery is expected to continue into 2023.
Attorney General Dale Marshall says the leaking of victims' reports is no blunder. He believes those responsible should face the harshest possible measures available under the circumstances. Crystal Hoyt has the exclusive.
The Attorney General of Barbados, Dale Marshall, says the recent leaking of sensitive information by the Barbados Police Service simply could not be a mistake.
They had to have been done intentionally. And it is really the gravest of breaches of public confidence. In any situation where a member of the public goes to the police service to make a complaint, if that information is not kept confidential, then it will almost certainly erode the public confidence.
The AG revealed that there will be consequences.
I've asked that the harshest possible measures available in the circumstances should be visited upon the officer. This calls into question not just the manner in which the police work, but also calls into question the ability of the public to trust the police service.
Investigations are ongoing. Crystal Hoyt, CBC News.
A St. Michael man who escaped police custody has been added to the police wanted list. He's Roger Rommel Stephen Seeley, alias Duckfoot. Seeley, whose last known address is Scott's Gap, Britain's Hill, St. Michael, is approximately 5 feet 11 inches tall and is wanted for questioning in connection with a serious criminal matter. He's of dark complexion and slim built with brown eyes. Seeley is advised that he can present himself to the Central Police Station at Coleridge Street, St. Michael, accompanied by an attorney-at-law of his choice. Anyone who may know the whereabouts of Roger Rommel Stephen Seeley is asked to contact the Central Police Station at telephone number 430-7676. You can call Police Emergency at 211, Crime Stoppers at 1-800-8477, or call the nearest police station. And finally, in our morning news, Barbados is among the regional destinations the Bahamian airline Bahamas Air is exploring opening new routes to. Deputy Managing Director Prince Storer revealed the airline is in discussions to launch services in other parts of the Caribbean. The other island identified for expansion is Antigua. Currently, Bahamas Air plans to add at least one new aircraft to its fleet every year through to 2025. It is also looking at aircraft with larger capacity. And that's where we end our headline news for this morning. I'm Shane Seeley. You'll hear more from Tisha on the other side right here on Morning Barbados after this break.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Maxback Extra at just $23. Call MCTV today at 228-6288 to upgrade or come in and sign up for a new service. Football fans, let MCTV get you back in the game.
When disaster threatens, it is comforting to know there's a team working to deliver credible, comprehensive, and up-to-date information. A team that is committed to serving you. A team that will be there before, during, and after the disaster. That is Team CBC, here for you this hurricane.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
That's right. Good morning to you if you're in the kitchen or getting ready to run through the door. You know, remember to take your time. Sometimes we feel like, oh, we're behind time or we might be a little late. And then you rush out and you go and get into a little fender bender or something and still have to sit there for a long time. So make sure that you take your time as you go through. Shane, I see you're still sitting there. If there's one thing that came to mind this morning while you were talking, you know, now we're in a position where we're sitting, so nobody can really see what's happening below the waist.
Right.
And you know, people used to talk about the fact that news presenters used to have on like beach shorts. Certain people that we know who shall remain unnamed. Do you wear beach shorts when you wear your jackets and you're looking so spiffy up top? Is it like casual at the bottom and business at the top?
Now, if we reveal that, that will be like revealing state secrets. So I can't say. I've heard that too, but as far as I'm concerned, you will never know.
Oh, so we're going to have to imagine what's happening.
You got to imagine what's
below
happening
the
down
screen.
under.
I shan't say below the waist because we can't, you know, it's just where the screen ends.
Indeed.
All right, have a good one, Shane.
You as well, Tisha. Always good talking to you.
I love to give Shane some trouble. You know how it goes. All right, so today we're saluting exceptional youth, and we are reaching through the region and down into Latin America to reach out and bring an exceptional youth who is another Hey ambassador and representing for the Latin American region. 17-year-old Brazilian young leader Juliana Janot is joining us on Morning Barbados. Good morning.
Good morning, Tashia. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. So good to have you with us. First of all,
yes.
Tell me how you became a Hey ambassador and what does that entail?
Sure. So since I was very young, I've always felt really connected to nature, and growing up in around Rio de Janeiro's mountainous forests really increased that connection. But realizing the way that our planet is going and the threats that climate change is threatening to the whole environment, biodiversity, and people really motivated me to fight for better futures and fairer futures, and that leads me to become a Hey ambassador, working to a better, more dignity for my generation and for the next to comes.
Speaking of working for your generation and the next, I know that you've either founded or co-founded a number of organizations. Talk to me about those organizations and tell us precisely what they do.
Sure. So I am the co-founder and CEO of Construindo Futuro, which is an international organization in which we empower teenagers worldwide to change their communities. So basically, we train teenagers to be local change makers and develop social and environmental projects to change their surroundings. So the idea is that they get together in groups and try to recognize the problems of their communities and develop solutions to solve them. You can check, like everyone who's are watching can check more about our work in our website, which is construindofuturo.org.
I know one of the things we think about when we hear Brazil, we automatically think of the rainforest. I think everybody's brain goes there. And we've heard so much over the years about how the rainforest has been ill-treated, for the lack of a better term. So how much of the work you do, how much of that work focuses on what's happening specifically in your environment in Brazil, and how much of it kind of looks at what's happening globally and takes a global view on climate change?
Sure. So basically, we bring this awareness as well to Brazilians to understand the importance also of being politically engaged to conserve the forest and to bring a better environment for us, because political changes are super important for really ensuring that the forest is conserved. And yes, and Brazil is the most biodiverse country in the world, so we play a huge role on climate change, on the global climate. So it's really important that we as Brazilian citizens have the awareness that our votes, for example, are really important in really conserving not only the Brazilian environment, but for the entire planet.
You mentioned at the beginning of the interview that you've always been very connected to nature. So tell us what that looks like for somebody of your age, just 17 years old. So what initially piqued your interest? Because I know even here in Barbados, we have gorgeous beaches, we have beautiful landscapes, and a lot of the times, you know, we're like, blah. There are people who have not been to the beach, these white sand, beautiful beaches, for years and years, because we kind of take our natural environment for granted. So what initially piqued your interest in your environment there in Brazil? How did your interest build initially?
Sure. So I've always gone hiking on the Rio de Janeiro's forest with my parents, because here in Brazil we have many different biomes. It's not only the Amazon rainforest, but for example here in Rio we have the Atlantic rainforest, which has beautiful waterfalls and the beaches, and I've always gone there, and then just like seeing all the fires and deforestation that is happening really also motivated me to act. And we see that these impacts not only impact the forest, for example, the animals and the environment, but are impacting people's lives too. So I am a volunteer of an NGO called Universidade do Amor, and I had the opportunity to go to an expedition to 7 indigenous and riverside communities in the Amazon rainforest. And there also I could see the impacts of environmental mismanagement in people's lives. So many times this deforestation and these environmental devastation is generating food insecurity. So the soil isn't as good anymore to plant, and we are seeing that it is causing a lot of human rights threats to people as well. So protecting the environment is not only talking about protecting animals and plants, but it's also about the dignity of people's lives.
I love that. What advice would you give to people of your age about why they should get involved more with nature, with climate change, with what's happening with our environment generally?
Sure. So I think it's very important for us to really understand we are talking about our own future and about how we are going to live in the next years. And climate change is really threatening nearly everything, from the weather to coastal cities due to sea level rise and diseases. Climate change is just generating more diseases. And I think it's important for us to understand that we need to change our habits now and really engage to promote better futures, because the time to act is now. So as a young people, if you don't know what can you do, how can you get involved, you can, for example, maybe apply to the Hey campaign, or even apply to Construindo Futuro. You can become an ambassador at my organization. And so there are many opportunities for you to get involved.
What does it entail being an ambassador? What would you have to do?
In Construindo Futuro?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, we have a global network of ambassadors in 15 countries, and we prepare these ambassadors to found a local embassy in their community. Like, an embassy is kind of like a local group in which they get together young people in the community to volunteer and create these social and environmental projects to solve community problems. So, for example, these young people can raise donations for charity for people who need. They can, for example, in my school, we have an embassy in my school, of Construindo Futuro, and we realized my school wasn't recycling the trash. So then we mobilized the school, and we installed a recycling system in our school. So teens can really lead the change wherever they are. So it's an opportunity for you to actually make something for the world and for your community.
Things change so quickly. How do you stay on top of all that's happening with climate change and all of the reports that are coming out? How do you balance the amount of effort you have to make on the political scene, as you mentioned, with what you do on a day-to-day basis, as in the work that you talked about before, actually getting out and doing work in the communities? How do you find that balance in keeping abreast of what's happening and actually doing the work that matters?
Sure. So I think it's really important to be updated. Sometimes, like, we teenagers, we use a lot of social media. So there are many social media accounts that they report directly on these causes like climate change and human rights. So you can follow these accounts. Also, in the internet, there are some media, some newspapers that they have specific columns for the Sustainable Development Goals for climate change. So it's a way to have daily updates of what is happening.
All right, and I love that you're going back to your social media. Just yesterday, I was reading a piece that Greenpeace put out about recycling. And we've heard so much about recycling over the years. And then all of a sudden, Greenpeace says there's so many different types of plastic. We're only really able to recycle about 5% of the plastic that we are setting aside. So even that, things like that, it's important to note and to kind of pivot as you go along to ensure that what we're doing is truly making an impact for the future. I want to congratulate you, because the purpose of this segment of the program is to really salute positive youth who are doing wonderful things around the globe, not only here in Barbados. And you most certainly are making strides for Latin America in the area of climate change. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Tisha. Have a great day.
All right, 17-year-old Juliana Janot, and she's a Hey ambassador, and she is working hard for our planet. So make sure you are doing your part as well. Coming up, speaking of enjoying the outdoors and loving nature, we're talking to you about a rural community football tournament. That's coming up next.
When disaster threatens, it is comforting to know there's a team working to deliver credible, comprehensive, and up-to-date information. A team that is committed to serving you. A team that will be there before, during, and after the disaster. That is Team CBC, here for you this hurricane season.
Join us this Friday as Morning Barbados will be broadcasting live from Sand Dunes Barn Restaurant, Belle Plainte in Andrew. Tune in to CBC TV 8 from 6:30 to 8 a.m. to be a part of the fun as we continue to take Morning Barbados on the road, coming to a parish near you. Brought to you with the compliments of Great Health Works, agents for Omega XL and probiotics.
Morning to you.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's a beautiful Thursday morning. That means it's so close to the weekend, we can smell it. So coming up today, we are heading out for Q in the community. That's right, we are going down to Savvy on the Bay. Savvy on the Bay in Bay Street. That's just across the street from the Barbados Family Planning Association. We get started around 11 o'clock this morning. So meet us on Bay Street for another great edition of Q in the community. You won't be disappointed. It's always a good time with the karaoke and the dancing and just great fellowship, meeting good people. It's good that we're getting back out and enjoying each other's company. So make sure you come on out to Savvy on the Bay today. 11 o'clock, we're going to be live on QFM as well. And remember, it's the Wear Pink edition today. Once I get off air, I have my pink in the car. I'll be putting on my pink and heading down to Q. So make sure you come on over and be a part of that as well. We have to say thanks to everybody, the ones who come out every single week. I know that you have your pink ready to come out to Q. Another notice for you before we jump into our interview. The CBC is advising our clients and customers that our accounts department, including our cashiers, will be closing at 12 noon today, Thursday, October 27th, to allow staff to attend the funeral of our late colleague. We also wish to advise our advertisers that bookings should be made no later than 10:30 this morning. Okay, if you have any queries, please contact our sales department at sales@cbc.bb or call your respective sales reps. We apologize for any inconvenience and thank you for your cooperation on that. So 10:30 for all bookings, and by midday, all of the cashiers will be closed. So make sure you plan accordingly. Now we're going to tell you all about a rural community football tournament that's coming up. Mr. Mark Gittins, who is coordinator of the tournament, and Mr. Mark Gittins is coordinator. Richard Santos is president of the Generation Next Football Club, and they're based in Antigua. So let's welcome him to Barbados and welcome both gentlemen to Morning Barbados.
Hey, morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Morning, Tisha.
Good to have both of you with us. First of all, it's always great to hear about things happening at the community level. So let's talk, first of all, to you, Mark. Kind of lay the scene for us. Talk to us about why at this particular time we're seeing that you're putting on this tournament.
All right, seeing that, you see the violence and thing that's going on. St. Philip right now is one of the parishes with the most unsolved murders and stuff like that. So we're trying to bring the community together through football, right? It's going to be a day of fun. You know, just want everybody come out just to enjoy the day, mix and mingle with each and everybody. That's basically it.
All right, so make the connection for us with Mr. Santos, Richard Santos, who, he is president of the Generation Next Football Club in Antigua. So tell us, make that connection, what brings him to Barbados?
Say that again.
Make the connection for us between this football tournament and Mr. Ricky Santos. What brings him to Barbados?
Okay, basically, Mr. Santos, the connection came from Miss, what's her name? Miss Ford. She asked us to hold the competition with Mr. Santos. You know, it just transpired that way. So,
all right, so it all worked out. So let's go to Mr. Santos now. Tell us about, I see you have an extensive background in football. Talk to us a little bit about, you know, what you do with the Next Generation, the Generation Next Football Club in Antigua, and how you heard about what's happening here, and let us know your involvement.
Okay, fair enough. First of all, I'd like to thank Dale Ford, who initiated this conversation between Mark, Esther, and myself in Generation Next. Generation Next Football Club in Antigua started in September of 2012. And over the years, in 2015, we started a youth football league in Antigua, which comprised of some 64 teams over 7 divisions. And it was based on the UK system, home and away games. However, all the matches, due to facility challenges, were played at one location. In the same year, we also started the Youth Futsal League, which is, of course, a different discipline of the sport. And with that, we coaches from Tottenham Hotspur, Bolton Wanderers in the States, New York Red Bulls, and we have affiliations and partnerships with Stoke City, Mansfield Town, Bolton Wanderers, Kettering Town, and we've had trials and so forth for a lot of these kids. We've also taken players, youth players that is, to Barcelona, FC Barcelona, Stoke City, trials for them in Bristol Rovers, Kettering Town. And then none of our players were successful for professional contracts at that stage. And in 2018, we embarked on a new initiative called Education Through Sports. I should indicate to you that I'm Antigua's and Barbuda's ambassador for sports and sports tourism. I'm also the president of a local nonprofit high school, St. Anthony's Secondary School, and of course, president of Generation Next Football Club. So in 2018, our program Education Through Sports, we invited 4 universities from the United Kingdom to come down to Antigua, and we offered a combine where they would search for talent. And of course, in the first year, we got 15 offers. However, only 3 were able to accept the offers due to the academic challenges, as they did not meet the university requirements for admission. So the following year, we started an advanced academy, whereby it was open to the whole of Antigua, not only for Generation X Football Club. And we were fortunate enough to have a benefactor, the Calvinier Foundation, which funded everything. And that would also include SAT classes to help better prepare them academically and for the sport itself in terms of training.
Okay, so there's definitely a lot happening in the area of football, and a lot of prospects for young people who are playing football to be able to kind of move to the next level and get scholarships and so on outside of the region, as is evidenced by what you shared with us. Now, we're told that we're now joined by the lady who is really the person who is helping to coordinate this tournament, Esther Sargent. So welcome. Thank you for finally joining us. And the tournament is a St. Philip tournament to spread peace and positivity. So let's start there. 6 football teams. Talk to us about what it was like to kind of coordinate it, get the teams together, get everybody involved, and get ready to get moving this Sunday.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me here. First of all, it wasn't a problem at all getting the teams together. Once I would have liaised with Mark Gittins, who normally would be the host for football tournaments in St. Philip. So we would have linked together, and then we decided to see where we can go from there. And we just basically got the teams together.
All right, tell me how the tournament will unfold. There are 6 teams.
6 teams, and it's going to be a very, very good tournament. It's a tournament unlike any other tournament, and we're asking persons to really come out and support the tournament. We are going to first start off with the parish ambassadors who are invited will be here at the tournament on Sunday. We have persons from the community development officer for the area. He was also invited. We have the persons who would have also sponsored some of the events within the tournament, like the Michael Lashley at KC and Associates. We have Dale Ford, who was instrumental in pulling off this event for us, because for me, I just started out thinking that this event would be getting some teams together and having a good time. But Dale, I must say, she took it to another level, and we're very, very appreciative of that. So we will have a good time. Mark was responsible for the fixtures and stuff, so he would have coordinated the teams, pulled the draws and everything, so everyone knows which position they'll be playing in and where we'll be going from there.
All right,
it's not just about
continue. Sorry. Go ahead.
It's not just about only playing football, but what I'm hoping to achieve from this tournament as well is that we would have a link within the communities. And if you look at the poster again, you are going to see that it's a rural tournament. So we have persons from St. John involved, which would be our neighbors. And we're looking to form that relationship so that if we need something from St. John, let's say this is going beyond sports. Let's say if we need to have a house painted in St. Philip, we can pull persons to get the most resources need to get the job done. If they need assistance as well, they can pull on us. And this is the kind of relationship that we're trying to form, building communities, building bridges, and closing in the gaps and forming lasting and fostering great relationships, not only with the communities, but with the businesses in St. Philip as well.
All right, that sounds amazing. Let's go back to Mark. Mark, let's talk about the fixtures, how things will unfold with the particular teams for the tournament coming up on Sunday.
Okay, well, what we are doing, we're having 2 zones of 3 teams, and each zone will play, you'll play one team twice, right? It's like a 2020. It's a 2020 tournament. We'll play each other twice. Then we go into the semifinals. So it's basically first and second. There's trophies for first, second, and third. I think what we will be doing is, I think there's a cash prize also. I think Esther, there's a cash prize, right?
Yes, please.
Right. So I think that money will be split into 2 or 3, and then you got an individual prize of most valuable player. That we will be giving something to the most valuable player, not best goalkeeper, not best defender, anything like the most valuable player, which is the MVP. We want to start about 9:30, as early as possible. Seeing that, you know, with the lights and stuff, I want to try and finish at least by 5:30.
All right.
Basically, that's it.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be an exciting day, and it's a whole lot more than just football. Of course, Mr. Santos, as we mentioned before, is a partner with the entire tournament. And I like the fact that, you know, you've seen what tournaments of this kind can do for young people, as it has for your club and other organizations that you've been a part of in the past. So what advice would you give as we go into this tournament coming up on Sunday?
Is that directed to me?
Directly to you.
Okay. Well, first of all, I would like to commend Esther, Mark, and Dale for an excellent initiative. I think it can only augur good for the for the unification and the uniting of all parties concerned, particularly the youth, which is my main focus, to keep them off the streets and ensure that they get into any bad, because that can be easily accumulated by the youngsters. And I'm hoping to work with Mark, Esther, and Dale to bring a combine to Barbados, where we'll bring in coaches from the UK, from Brookhouse College, Hartbury College and University, and from the US, to offer the young players in Barbados similar opportunities as to what we've done here in Antigua. We already are facilitating such events in Jamaica and in Trinidad, and we're hoping to do so in Barbados also too. So this might be like a springboard or precursor to having a combine in Barbados, which I think will be successful. I think not only the semi-professionals, but the Caribbean area for talent, and also the universities have bypassed this to some extent, seem to be going to Central America, South America, the Americas, including Canada and Africa, and leaving us out to the loop. So this initiative will hopefully bring unity among the Caribbean and expose our players so that they can get an education and also pursue their dreams of achieving the highest level of football that they can.
All right, I want to thank you so much, Mr. Richard Santos, President of the Generation Next Football Club based in Antigua, Mark Gittins and Esther Sargent, both coordinators for the Rural Community Tournament that's coming up this Sunday. That's right, it's starting this Sunday, so make sure you go on out and be a part of it. We will continue to tell you more about the tournament and how you can get involved. All right, we're going to take a break and come back. A little music in your morning is next.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb, and together we will travel the world.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Time truly waits for no man. It's 17 minutes before 8 o'clock. Just 17 minutes left in today's edition of Morning Barbados. So you must have seen him performing on the Beach to the World stage or somewhere. He has been performing original music for quite some time. This morning is no different. He's going to join us to talk about some newly released music. Here's Peter Cox with 2 X's. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning, T. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. Listen, it's so funny. You call me nothing but T.
Yeah, it makes sense, right?
Yep, it absolutely does. Let's talk about your journey with music. How have things changed for you since all of that exposure through Beach to the World and that national stage?
After Beach to the World, I definitely still continue to write. I definitely had an influx, maybe 1 or 2 more gigs that popped up that I took advantage of that I still have. I'm presently at Clay Oven every Saturday. You guys can come down. That's a great acoustic night. It's a beautiful show. I've recorded more singles, released more singles, made more connections, and pretty much grew as an artist since then, and still continue to grow.
Some of these connections are directly linked to Beige to the World. You have a new release with Mornin Barbados, who was also on the show. So let's hear about that and how it came about. I know you guys were there were whisperings even before the show ended that you were going to work together. But how did it unfold?
Well, I'll tell you the truth. After Beige to the World, man, I wasn't so happy that I didn't make it to the finals. That's the absolute truth. And it put me in a bit of a funk for maybe a week or two. And I remember staying in my room, and it felt like the walls were closing in. And I felt like, almost like if I was going to give up on music for a second. And I was having a conversation with one of my friends. His name is Damon. And he was just pretty much reminding me of my purpose and how much I love music. Music is my soul. And after that conversation, I started writing a song called Rooted. And I put it down on my guitar. And there's the producer, who is actually a Barbadian, but he resides in Canada right now. He's been working with Ramon on his album. And so I sent him an acoustic version. I sent Ramon the acoustic version and said, listen, bro, I need you to do this song with me, So when I explained to him what I was feeling and what the motivation for the song was, is pretty much like to get up and keep going, stay rooted in who you are and who you're supposed to be. Like, don't let anyone get in your head. You're like, you know your purpose, and be about your purpose, So the song is actually doing really good in Canada. So the producer, like I said, he resides in Canada. So he shared it with a couple of his aviation friends in WestJet. And the lyrics in the second verse is like a play on aviation, where he talks about T's and P's in the green. It's actually a play on flight checks. So all of a sudden, there are a few pilots, making videos of the song, and it's really taking off in Canada. And we're really happy about that one.
That's good stuff, and it really shows what music can do for you. I'm almost not happy, but I'm glad to hear that you're talking about that funk that you felt. A lot of the times people are going through things and they don't want to come out and say, because it's almost like it's not accepted. Of course, you put a lot of effort and energy into the show, and I can absolutely see why you would want. Who wants to go through a show and not make it to the finals? So to come out and talk about how you were able to kind of make it through that funk, as you describe it, through your music, through using your writing, is very, very important, because that's a lesson for everyone. And I love the title of the song too, Rooted. Tells you about going back as opposed to what's important, going deeper.
Yeah.
How about that?
Going deeper, like every time you leave your home, you got to stay rooted in who you are and who you're supposed to be. You have to be after your purpose. That's how you live the happiest life, I think.
All right. You also made another song called Satellites during this period.
Yes,
so you are on a ball. You're on the ball making new music. Talk to us about that particular song.
Satellites. It was a project funded by the NCF. It's called Trident 10, and the chief coordinator on that project, his name is DJ MZ. I call him DJ M, but his name is really DJ MZ. So he gave me a call, and he was like, Peter, I like your stuff. He has a project going, and he has a beat, and he was wondering if I could write something to it. So he sent me over the beat, and so said so done. I wrote something into it. I took it over to my friend Sean Warren, who did the vocals. We sent the vocals back to him. I think these vocals were mixed by Anthony Lohar, if I'm not mistaken. Mr. Lohar did his magic, mix and master, and sent it back over. And the video was done by DJ Joe Cloudy, sorry, yeah. As you can see, his video quality is really up there too. So I had fun, I had fun creating, doing what I love to do, and more music to come before the end of the year also.
All right, let's listen in for a little bit.
Sure.
Coming in from Europe.
up, flying to the islands. A quiet getaway was the only thing she planned. Worlds collided, she could not fight it. All around the world, baby, how did we find it? Never for a minute, she thought a little visit could change her life completely, make her love so deeply. Never for a minute, she thought a little visit that I can make her smile, my island boy style. High like satellites, slow dancing on the moonlight, swimming in the riverbed. Come on, baby, let's play.
Well, Peter,
That's me.
you have been on the national spotlight for quite some time. You know, you started out with the group Infinity, and I don't know if I should mention that I remember back then when I used to
Oh boy,
host.
here we go.
At that time, I hosted, I believe, the Richard Out
That
Teen
was
Talent Show.
Richard.
Old age,
Remind
listen
me
to
of
me.
what I can't remember.
Listen, when I start to try to add numbers up, it just does not work out. You know, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were talking about, you know, they were born, somebody said, I was born in 2010. And I said, well, I can't figure that out. In 2010, what was I doing? Yeah, but I mean, you started with Infinity. You came second in the Richard Out Teen Talent Show. You were also Mr. Coleridge and Parry. How about that? So let's shout out everybody from CP this morning. And then you won the Mr. Secondary School. So you've kind of always been in the spotlight with your music and performance and kind of getting out there. You know, what has that been like for you? You know, kind of living a life in the spotlight.
You know, sometimes it comes with a challenge. You know, it's not always fun and games, particularly the entertainment industry. It could be a bit difficult. But then again, anything that is worth something, you know, it's going to come with challenges. I think the main focus is not to give up and, you know, not to give in. Like, stay true to your purpose, and that's basically what I'm trying to do. You know, like, I did take a break from music and entertainment for a while, and like, I don't know if you knew, but, you know, I lost my mom 3 years ago. And within that story, what made me like kind of immerse myself into music again is that I lost my cell phone. My cell phone malfunctioned, and it had all her voice notes, and basically couldn't hear her voice anymore. You know what I mean? So that's why I kind of dive back into music just in case, so that I always have a voice. I always have a message, especially towards my daughters. You know what I mean? They can always hear where I'm coming from. So yeah.
Peter, how do you balance that, you know, that work as in entertainment, family life? Because, you know, you have some fairly big children.
Yeah. Yeah. My second daughter, she just turned 15 on Monday. And my first daughter, she's going to be 17 on the 2nd of November. So they're pretty much like 2 years apart. Yeah. I think I've been blessed. I was kidding with my younger daughter on her birthday. I was saying, and you know, to think I wanted sons, and the Creator blessed me with daughters. You know, so that's I think every father would probably think that their children are unique, but I think my daughters are definitely special. They make it easier. They're very sweet people. You know, intelligent. Girls that are growing nicely and rounded, so I'm grateful for that. So they make that part easy. Sometimes work is a balance, is a challenge. You know, sometimes you work 20-hour days, 24 on Friday. You know, but like, what can I say? This is my purpose, and this is probably what I'll probably die doing, music.
For sure. It makes no sense me asking you what's your short-term goal. You just told me you're going to do music for the rest of your life, and I think that's very important. With this new music that you have out, though, remind us where we can find you, where we can find your music. That's online and physically.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you the truth, I don't have a lot of physical copies right now, but if you guys maybe send me an email on Instagram or a DM on Instagram, you can find me on Instagram at the Peter Cox. You can also find me there on Facebook. My music is available for free on Spotify, iTunes. You can go and stream it. The album is called The Original Copy. It represents me returning to the original version of myself, which is an artist. I think the music on there is really good. A lot of all Barbadian artists on there. Anthony Lohar. I have producers like Dwayne Antrobus, Sean Warren. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. It was a beautiful album, and it's definitely worth listening to at least once. I'm sure if you listen to it once, you'll probably listen to it again. Audio Mac, pretty much wherever you are comfortable downloading music, you can check me out.
All right, that's good stuff. And I know that you got a grant from the NCF to complete the album, which was released earlier in 2021. In February or so.
Yes,
and
please.
One of my favorite songs is on there, so I would encourage everybody to make sure they check it out. Face to Face. Of course, I can never really sing that song, so I'll try. But thank you, Peter Cox, with 2 X's, for coming through. I'm happy that you capped the X's at only 2 because we would have a situation on our hands.
No, we're good right there. We're good right there. Thank you so much for having me. It has been a pleasure just talking to you and exchanging energy. I want to wish a beautiful day to everybody logged on, and just go ahead and be about your purpose. Bless you.
For sure. And you always give good energy as well, and that's important for setting the tone for the day. Have a good one. We wish you all the best with your musical journey.
Bless you. Take care.
Peter Cox. Hey, we're going to take another break, come back, and wrap up today's edition of Morning Barbados. Tomorrow, we are on the move. We will be in St. Andrew. I'll tell you more after this.
You're listening to AJ. Coming in from Europe, flying to the islands. A quiet getaway was the only thing she planned. Worlds collided, she could not fight it. All around the world, baby, how did we find it? Never for a minute, she thought a little visit could change her life completely, make her love so deeply. Never for a minute, she thought a little visit that I can make her smile. My island boy.
This Friday, as Morning Barbados will be broadcasting live from Sand Dunes Bar and Restaurant, Belle Plaine, St. Andrew. Tune in to CBC TV 8 from 6:30 to 8 a.m. to be a part of the fun as we continue to take Morning Barbados on the road. Coming to a parish near you. Brought to you with the compliments of Great Health Works, agents for Omega XL and probiotics.
Wake up, morning to you.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up.
Morning Barbados will be coming to your parish live every Friday until November. Stay tuned from 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. to see which parish we're in. Join us for it all.
Good morning, morning Barbados, good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up, morning to you.
Come on, you family, make some noise. Are you ready?
Community is on every Thursday in a community near you.
The community is well and alive.
Come on down and, have a line with all of me. The more mature folk come to dance, to sing.
Keep the bones smooth.
Q in the Community is your place to meet friends, to socialize, and just to be you.
Yes, come on down and take in the karaoke.
Whether you come in from north, south, east, or west, we have a bus for you.
Q in the Community.
Stay tuned to Q100.7 FM to find out where we will be next, and follow us on Facebook. Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
So just a few reminders as we go. The accounts department here at CBC and the cashiers will close at 12 o'clock as we pay our last respects to our late colleague Arthur Lane of our procurement and accounts department who passed away. So to his friends and relatives, our humblest condolences. And also later today we also have Q in the Community, 11 o'clock, Savvy on the Bay, and we are going to be at Sand Dunes tomorrow in Belle Plaine, St. Andrew, for Morning Barbados on the Move. That's it for today. Remember, as you go about your business, wear your smiles. I'm Tisha Hines. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.